Does anyone want to know what I hate worse than a conservative? Is black conservatives. It's not, it's not, and it's not even so much black conservatives as a whole, because I don't believe, not every black conservative like shares these, like look at his shirt, look at his hat. I mean, yeah, you can have his hat, but like, anyone who supports Trump has to be uneducated. You have to be uneducated. Like, there's no way. I mean, I don't even hate. I just like Trump, but like, I never really hated him. Like I guess the conservative media like to put out the SJW hype train. That's how this guy got so many views and supporters. He jumped onto that SJW like hype train, as you'll hear later in the. You can look at his shirt. That's already point one. Point one is white privilege exists. It doesn't matter what shirt you use. It doesn't matter how much you want to try and like denounce the black community and crap all over your own community for money. It doesn't matter how much you believe that you're being so logically superior to people, but you're really you're just uneducated. You have no idea what words mean. You're making up your own, no real definitions. So there's not even a real definition of white privilege. It exists. I mean, literally in any college, any literature, like this thing exists. It's just one of the things that are synonymous with America, though. It's more American than anything. Because other thing, like only when, like, it's weird why he's so like, why don't you just let white people defend themselves? You know what I mean? Like, let white people explain that, hey, white privilege doesn't exist. Why are you? This is almost as bad as when poor people try to defend rich corporations in the top 1%, while they take all the money from bailouts, etc., and return almost nothing and avoid taxes, etc., and have lobbyists and stuff. It's almost as bad. It's like, really? You're going to defend white people as if because you're a black man, so you'll know it'll garner attention. Hey, white people, I don't agree either. I have the true knowledge because I'm a black man out here. And I have supporters because I sold myself out because I believe I have the true logic. I'm not like the other black people, I'm not like them. I'm different. I have my own mind, just as the lie is the Democratic plantation, which is a complete lie. But, uneducated people will continue to spew factually incorrect info. That's just what they do. And they have a vested interest to do that. So, I mean, but like I said, it's like weird how like a black man like this gets so insecure when something like white privilege comes up. Guess what? There's tall privilege. I'm tall. Guess what? I'll say I do have a privilege in being tall. Sports comes to mind. Guess what? You have tall privilege. In other situations, you have short privilege. In other situations, you have Asian privilege, Indian privilege. There's plenty of situational things, depending on the context, where you can have privilege. And guess what? Just acknowledging it doesn't mean anything. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it doesn't mean that you yourself are racist, etc. But you being so vehemently against it kind of shows like your inner workings of how you think. And it's sad because so many uneducated people are reactionaries. And if you don't know what a reactionary is, look it up. It really, the definition's in the word itself. I mean, you just react without thinking. You have no knowledge. You have no real education. I mean, and this is the thing. You don't even have to have a college education to be educated. You just have to find what definitions mean. Just as there is a difference between gender and sex. Granted, I don't agree with everything on that like issue, but there's a definition there to be seen. There's two different definitions. It's not the same. Now, maybe you didn't know that before, but now you know that now. Go look it up. Just as people who have shirts like this don't know what they're talking about. I mean, it's funny because he's already invalidated himself within the first second you even turn on the video. And it's just crazy how simple and simplistic it is. And it's quite honestly sad. But let's continue with the video. I won't play the whole video. I'll play a section of it. Now, in this video, I agree with Charles Barkley. But Charles Barkley has been wrong in so many other instances and so cognitively unaware of real issues that are like systemically in this country, where it doesn't, you don't always have to agree with what someone says, but more times than not, they're going to be more wrong than right, and vice versa. They'll be more right than wrong, etc. But let's watch this. Let's see what this man has to say. Let's see the optics here.
Brought to you by TatumReport.com. Link is in the description section. My brand new website where you get into this again. Anyway, so Charles Barkley. We talking about Charles Barkley here. Charles Barkley, I liked him a long time ago, right? I feel like Charles Barkley reminded me of my dad. Just a logical dude that's just not buying into the BS. Somebody that's not afraid to put his foot forward, somebody that's not afraid to stand up for values and really don't care what people think about him. Charles Barkley do not care what people think about him. He's one of the most genuine and one of my favorite athletes, or you could say retired athletes.
Can we stop giving this like distinction that like just because someone is ignorant, like, now I'm not saying Charles Barkley's ignorant in this instance, but like when someone's like wrong, just because they say it confidently and they don't budge on that ideology or that take they had, that they're somehow right. Can we just stop that? I mean, this is the same logic people use with Trump when he lies, when he clearly speaks out of turn, like just completely lies and has nothing to really show for it. But because he said it, and he just stays with it, that somehow makes him justified. That makes you have the real truth here. I mean, can we just stop with that notion? Because it's completely not logical, as he says. I mean, and as you'll see, apparently, as what he just said, apparently everyone else is just not being truthful. Everyone else is not a genuine person. You know what I mean? You can be genuinely an idiot like yourself and continue to push this thing because it makes you money and you're like a race peddler. You use your own race as a way to not only put down your own community, but like you're going to respond. Like, and if someone like this would respond, like you'll call them out for it. Like, how you're completely like derailing any good positive change to the black community by spewing this stuff. Like, look at your shirt. Like, come on. You feel in your own interest you have to go and defend white people over a term that's like, it's just a fact. It exists. It's a real definition. And it's not even a bad definition. But that's your ideology. You have that conservative, that mindset. And obviously you're a police officer, so we're not even surprised by anything you'll say. But I just think it's weird how he'll like put the notion out there that just any black people who just don't align with him are just not being honest. They're not being genuine. Even though if you have any education or mindset, like any context of history, and you're also educated, you would not end up like this guy. You would not even say the things. You wouldn't even be wearing that shirt because you look like an idiot. But anyways, let's continue.
Hall of Famers. And I think Shaq is one of my favorites as well. Now, some of them can sometimes be SJWs, but Charles Barkley in this video took the words right out of my mouth. And
so it's so weird, the doublespeak here. It's like when people said, when black people get shot or like whatever the case may be, they'll be like, you know what, that was clearly wrong, but I'm not saying he should have got shot, but let's look at the facts here. He did this, he did that, and he did this, or he had the history of this. I mean, he threw up middle fingers in his profile, middle school profile pictures, and but I'm not saying he should have got shot now, but you are. And it's funny because the reason that relates to what he just said is Charles Barkley's such a genuine dude. He doesn't care what anyone thinks, da-da-da-da-da. But they can be SJW sometimes. But on this specific topic, he was right. And I wonder why he's right in this specific instance as opposed to the other instances that don't align with this guy's like his viewpoints. It's just funny how they'll flip-flop. Only leave out the information they don't like and then use the ones they do. I mean, it's just hilarious. Like, every other time Charles Barkley or Shaq or anyone else like says anything that like police brutality, how it's unacceptable, and there is a problem in this country with that. Oh well, that's just SJW. Which, who even uses SJW anyway? That's so cringe. Like, are you stuck in like 2014 through 2018? Like, you're still riding the SJW like clickbait train, like that hype train. Like, who even does that? That even shows how even less educated you are. Like, who even uses that? That's just cringe terminology. But whatever.
Love how Terry Crews and all of these other celebrity types are coming out. I mean, brothers who are coming out and speaking the truth to these lames. These lame black folks that always whining about something, always complaining about something. It has to get checked by the veterans. Anyway, before I say too much more, I want you to watch the reason why I made this video, Roll the Film. Listen.
Really quick, you know what's lame? Using your race as a way to make money. In the worst way possible anyway. Like, using your race to peddle to white people's emotions or white people's like, insecurities on what racism is and what's really going on, and you as a black man basically just saying, well, I'm black and look at me, I'm not like the other black people, look at me, I have real logical takes on this, I'm in the middle, remember, you like, look at me, I'm in the middle, I can see both sides. But it's like, no you don't. Like, you see both sides, but you choose to ignore one side over the other because it makes you money. But regardless, let's hear what Charles Barkley has to say.
Deshaun Jackson, Steven Jackson, Nick Cannon, Ice Cube. Man, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, y'all want racial equality. We all do. I don't understand how insulting another group helps our cause. And the only person called y'all on it was Kareem. We can't allow black people to be prejudiced also, especially if we're asking for white folks to respect us, give us economic opportunity, and things like that. I'm so disappointed in these men, but I don't understand how you beat hatred with more hatred. That's just your.
And it's so funny because literally Charles Barkley, even though he is not always correct, what he's stating in this video, I'm pretty sure the guy who made this video, whatever his name, officer or whatever, he's going to nitpick exactly what was said here. And he's going to try and make this like thing where like a lot of black people are actually racist and they act like whatever, like that stuff. But you know what's funny though? The guy that made this video probably doesn't believe that there needs to be any racial equality. He probably doesn't believe there's any real issue here besides black people want everything and they're always complaining about something. Which, I mean, again, sounds just like any conservative who just blindly just disregards any real like logic, any real statistical analysis of what has actually happened throughout the years, and the plain discrimination on the books on the history of the United States. And not only that, we don't even have to go that far ago. I mean, how, like, it was like the year, like, Alabama didn't really put it on its law books. Like, interracial marriage wasn't on the law books in Alabama until the year 2000. And we don't even have to go into like every individual case where like laws were racist still in the books even till today. Like, we can, it won't explicitly say, oh, like, drop the N word and say black people can't do this. Like, that's not how it works. Like, but people who make videos like these are not educated. They're literally reactionaries. They make no sense. They just sit in their echo chambers and believe they're right just because they feel like they're in the middle so much where, like, I'm so nonpartisan. But it's like, bro, you're so partisan, but you're too dumb to even, and stupid to even notice it. But look, Charles Barkley's already stated there is an issue, at least in this specific topic. There is a problem. But I bet you the guy who made this video isn't going to admit that or agree with that. But who would be surprised?
It never come up in your vocabulary, and it should never come up in your heart. I don't understand it. I'm never going to accept it. And I'm asking you guys, I'm begging you guys, man. You guys are famous. You got a platform. We got to do better, man. I want allies. I don't want to alienate anybody. and to take shots at the Jewish race, the white race.
Yes. Like, let's not alienate anyone. Like this officer, whoever, black man who just like defends white people and like the racist ones, not just the good, like not the regular logical white people, like the ones that are like grifters. Yeah. Like let's have allies, white allies, not like these, you know. Regardless, Charles Barkley's completely right on this take. I personally don't agree with the anti-Semitic remarks that I see a lot of people share. There definitely is like black Israelites, but they're such a small part of the group. There's such a small representation that like I know conservatives like to like when they don't like something they're hearing, they like to just cover it all in one thing like a cloth because they've seen it. But like majority of the people aren't. Like that's not even like a real representation. That's probably 2% of the black community. But even then, like still, like Charles Barkley's correct. But like that's not even what this video is really about though. Because watch, I'm pretty sure the pivoting that's about to happen is going to be ridiculous. I'm going to let this video play on a little longer. We're going to get to like the pivot he's about to do, break that down and be done with the video because, I mean, why are we even really watching someone like this? Well, it's just to break down back takes just in case, you know, you were in between. I mean, really, if you're already conservative and you agree with someone like this, it's pretty likely you're already brain dead or uneducated. It's just no way to like get around that. But hey.
I just don't like it because it's not right. And I had to call him on it because it's really been on my heart.
These are the same questions that I have for these activists, these weekend activists, because they don't do nothing in the off season. Most of them, all they do is take a knee and stuff when it's expedient politically or when it's expedient to make money or to get famous.
See, now he's projecting his own ideas because a lot of the NBA cares, and a lot of these players do participate in their communities, whether it's the offseason and during the season. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have done it. All the NFL players have done it. I mean, Colin Kaepernick is a very, very big. It's funny because, like, in retrospect, Colin Kaepernick was right about everything. And literally the NFL had to give in, like, multiple times. The grievance issue, they had to settle out of court for it. You know, and it's funny because any other time there's a situation where someone settles out of court, they're automatically guilty. But when it's the NFL, they're like, what? And it doesn't suit their political ideology and their narrative. That they go, well, that doesn't mean that the NFL was like, you know, wrong here. It's just they didn't want to have the PR and go through all the time. It's like, okay, sure, buddy, sure. But you know, it's just funny how he's projecting his own ideology just to like cement his narrative even more. He just blatantly lies, like most conservatives just lie. The NBA community does more than probably even the NFL community, but to assume that they don't do anything for the communities or weekend activists, I'm sorry. When did being black make you like a weekend activist? I don't think they get to just turn off their blackness and then just turn it back on. Sorry. Yeah, I know they make more money than you and you're probably envious of that and they have a bigger platform than you. So like you get envious of that also. And I know you just hate seeing what you're seeing, but like no matter how much you shuck and jive, it won't change the fact that they do a lot of stuff. I mean, even before all the political stuff happened, they were doing stuff in the community. Just funny that now they're apparently not doing anything, but I doubt you even watch. You're going to claim you don't watch the NBA, and all the idiots in your comment section are probably going to say that too, but NBA is not going anywhere. Black Lives Matter is not going anywhere. All the progressive movements are going to progress, and if the United States doesn't change, then guess what? There's going to be turmoil, and this country probably won't even exist anymore. We are the youngest country. To believe that we're just not going to change is dumb. I mean, look, civil rights passed. You think like staying in this like goofy mentality is gonna like save your like culture or whatever the hell it is, like the fear mongering that you have, like it's not gonna stop. Progression's we're either gonna progress or fail, and all the things we're doing are for progress, and you're sitting here trying to act as if the progress is failing, but it's not. But whatever. Grifter alert.
Celebrity, or to say it because it's jazzy and it sound good and it's hip, it is popular, all of the above. But my question is, what have you accomplished? Like, what are y'all doing at this point? Because Martin Luther King already dealt with the civil rights thing. I don't know if y'all know your history, but the Civil Rights Act was already passed, right?
This is hilarious. He's going to cite history that he knows nothing about. I mean, and apparently, I guess in his mind, he thinks that like racism just stopped after that. And like I already told you guys, Alabama didn't even put on their books that interracial marriage was like recognized as legal until the year 2000. And I mean, to act as if the United States government, and there's like, these people act as if there's no like opposition. There are people who genuinely believe and are okay with black people and minorities being discriminated against, whether it's because they genuinely just don't like their race, or whether that has been fear mongered to them that they're going to take their jobs, they're going to rape their children, they're going to bring the property values down, they're going to take their jobs. I mean, that's the only that's a legitimate large part of the, at least as what I've seen from a lot of white communities, like Fox News, and they like to peddle that fear mongering. But like, and of course, you have black individuals like this that like to shuck and jive for their money, and they probably. And I'm not saying he doesn't like believe in this, what he's saying, but it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to agree, and it's almost impossible to not acknowledge how horrible his optics are and how horrible his arguments are. These are like half-ass arguments that would like, this would like satisfy majority of the country, or at least the white conservative audience that doesn't need much factual or contextual relevancy in any of their arguments. Like that would satisfy them. That makes sense to them. Like what he just said was like, oh yeah, that's so, that was so revolutionary of a take. You know what? You're so right. What are they doing? What could they possibly be doing? Because we already did civil rights. I mean, I know there's no openly law. There's no like laws on the books that just says black people can't do this. So I don't know what you guys are trying to fight for. Well, I mean, if you didn't just try to like lie about a lot of their movements and lie about a lot of things and just disregard a lot of things they said, I think you'd probably know. But because, you know, you make money by peddling this propaganda, essentially, it's all propaganda, you'll never see it. You're probably the furthest thing from a black man that well, actually not the furthest thing. You're just on that side with all the rest of the people who are against their own best interests. You don't care about your community. You only care about your community in the way that you want it to care about the community. You would probably be the one to be like, well, black people just need to stop listening to that rap music. Black people just need to stop sagging. Black people just need to stop shooting each other. Black people just... As if that's like even a real good argument. That's like the most racist argument possible. Like you're literally just generalizing your own race. You are a black man. I think you need to realize that. But you know, I guess as long as your followers in your comment section, you know, help you get over that, you know, insecurity inside yourself that you are black, then I guess you'll just stay doing these videos like this. But let's continue.
Black people are equal under the law. Equal under the Constitution. So what are you complaining?
Ah! Oh! Whoa! Ah! Did he just say the Constitution? The guy literally doesn't even know his history that he's stating. This is what we're talking about. Conservatives who just lie. They just lie and expect you to just go with it. But if you're actually educated, black people were 3/5 of a person on the Constitution. The Declaration of Independence. I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on. All men are great individuals. All that BS, man. Like, all those lies. Like, come on now. Like, it's so funny. He has like a armchair understanding of anything he's saying. It's like any random idiot can just spew lies. And they'll gain a following because guess what? Guess who else gained a following? Trump. One of the worst speakers. And like, I know politicians lie. And there's a lot of politicians who lie. But oh my God, has any politician just lied so blatantly? I mean, I just don't get it. I just don't understand how anyone could like defend Trump. But not only that, this is the kind of people who defend Trump. This is the kind of people who support Trump. I don't even care if you're a conservative and you support Trump. You guys are just dumb. I'm sorry. Like, that's just what it is. You could literally support any other candidate and I would have more respect for you. But like, come on. Come on. Come on. Jesus Christ. I'm about to end this video. Hold on. Let's keep going.
Complaining about. Now, the thing is that black people are not going to be favored in the law. They're not going to be favored in opportunities, and I don't believe that they should. I believe that black folks should be given an equal opportunity to succeed like everybody else. There shouldn't be, a ball and chain hanging on your ankles where you can't even, progress in life. I don't believe that should be the case. But in America in 2020, man, look, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want to do if you pursue it. If you dream big, if you view yourself in a positive manner, you have positive self-esteem, you treat people with respect, you believe in God. I mean, what can you not do? But these celebrity types who feel that they have to
believe in God. Okay. That's what we're doing. All right.
I believe in Long Beach. I played football with Deshaun Jackson in high school, U.S. Army All-American game. A little rough around the edges. He grew up in the hood. First time he made millions, he moved to the burbs with the white people. With the white people. He moved off. All these other dudes move off. Colin Kaepernick, raised by all white family. All of these people are in some way abandoning the hood and they feel bad about it, so they try to overcompensate. So now you got to be woker than thou. What's his name? Can't even think his name. Wildin' Out. Cannon. I can't think his first name. I think Joe Biden is rubbing off on my mind. Nick Cannon. God, dog it. Nick Cannon. So Nick Cannon is the same way. Nick Cannon was wealthy ever since he was a youngster, doing Nickelodeon stuff. And these people feel like they got to overcompensate. And that's why they're coming out and being outrageous. And people like Charles Barkley is like, what are y'all doing? Like, some of these elder people were around in the civil rights movement. They were around when Jim Crow was in place. Some of these people were around at the height of tension against black people in this country. And now these little youngsters ain't read no history book, don't know nothing about nothing. They out here complaining and trying to protest. I would like to see them be more productive. I wish that Charles Barkley would watch this video, because I would.
All right, we're going to leave it there. I mean, really, there's nothing much to really gain. It's been a long video. But, I mean, simply just he's stating history again, which he has no clue about. It's weird because he's not even attacking the actual issues. I don't know how being anti-Semitic actually, like, I don't know how being anti-Semitic is like a way to overcompensate leaving the hood. I don't know where the correlation is there. Really, what he should have honed in on is how they're being anti-Semitic, and then he could have tried to play like the conservative card of just going, you see, black people, the leftists, or this, all that, they're cool with like being anti-Semitic, and they're cool with letting black people get away with it. And as you can tell, a lot of black people are racist. It's like, no, like, you could have done that, and it would have made a lot more sense to an idiot. I mean, but overall, he kind of just lost the point because, for whatever reason, he wants to bring up history again. And it's funny because you're literally making a point for why things aren't so different between back then and now. I mean, on the law book, just because it doesn't say black people doesn't mean that there's no policies enacted that target or directly affect a certain group of people, which happens to be black people more times than not. Zoning law, all kinds of things. I don't even have to get into it because it's so plainly there. It's been broken down in so many articles and like just history itself. Yet this guy, he's going to act as if they don't do anything. Who cares whether Colin Kaepernick was raised by a white family? Is he not black then? Is that what you're saying? Oh, they move out to the suburbs. Okay, they can't move where they want to? They have to stay in other hoods. You know how many black people I know that live in the southern Dallas area, in DeSoto, that live in nice houses? And guess what? It's a black community. You're just assuming they moved to just white areas. I wonder why you just assume because they got money they moved to white areas. I wonder why you believe that only white people live in nice areas. I wonder why. Why is that? Why is so many white people live in much better areas than majority of black people? I wonder why. It wouldn't have anything to do with that history, right? You know, the wealth gaps, generational wealth gaps in this country. Like you just said, people are alive today that dealt with that stuff. Okay. And doesn't that make like the opposition's argument more than it makes your argument? I seriously I just don't get it. I don't get it. Well, I do get it, but I just don't get how people could be this dumb. But of course, you know, I'm not saying I'm the smartest person out there, but optically, I understand these things. I've been on all sides of the political spectrum, and race and this stuff, never could agree with. You couldn't even agree with it if you just understand history and literally like just logically, like the real logic thing. Like people like to say things, but they don't even understand what they mean. They just say words and they believe that they're right. It's just weird. It's just the weirdest phenomena I've ever been a part of or noticed in this country. But yes, someone like this is going to project the entire video. And look at the shirt. That's all you gotta see. We're gonna be doing this for as long as we have to. It's just sad. This is just one of those examples why I just hate when I see black conservatives. Definitely black Trump supporting black conservatives. It's just cringe. It's all around cringe. And then, like, their arguments are so easily debunked and their viewpoints are so easily bad and racist in themselves that it really shouldn't even take a video like mine or anyone else's to show how bad they are. But unfortunately, since Trump's president, we have quite a bit of people out here are just idiots or racist sympathizers, or people who the moderate white American, which Martin Luther King talked about, is one of the biggest threats to the black community because they are much more interested with order than they are justice. They would rather have a group of people persecuted and stuck with just being disenfranchised as long as order is kept. But when you see riots or, you know, protests, you know, it makes people feel uncomfortable. It's like, what do you expect? What do you really expect? All of majority of history of American history is white people rioting and killing people because they didn't get their way, because they felt persecuted. But when it's black people in modern day America, when you don't even allow them to protest because you have sleeper agents like policemen getting in and starting stuff themselves, far right people coming into these protests and posing as Black Lives Matter activists when really they're just hate groups that know that once they start violence, police can come in and quiet down any like protest. I mean, and even when someone like Colin Kaepernick, as he wants to state, who's given millions back to his communities he's not even a part of, mind you, or never even grew up in. When someone like Colin Kaepernick protests silently on a fucking knee, will complain and tell him he shouldn't do it. Like, subscribe, share this video. We'll be back with more. Thank you for watching Light Skin Politics. I'm out this.